So I'm typically totally a creature of habit. That's just the way I am. But it's Wednesday right now, and I'm showing up in your podcast feed. Now, I was here on Monday, and I'm probably still in your feed since Monday, but now I'm showing up on a Wednesday. So what could that possibly be all about? Well, I have something I want to tell you about, so it's just going to be a quick episode, like 5 minutes or so, but stick around because I want to share something with you. So let's jump in. Are you a language teacher looking for some reassurance that what you're doing in the classroom is on the right track? Or maybe you're looking for some ways to teach even more effectively. If you're one or the other or somewhere in between, you've landed in the right place. This is the World Language Classroom Podcast with your host, me, Joshua Cabral. You're about to get tips, tools, and resources so that your students continue to rise in proficiency and communicate with confidence. Let's jump in. Vamos, allons-y. Hello, my friends. Bonjour, mes amis. Hola, mis amigos. Welcome to the World Language Classroom Podcast. I am Joshua Cabral, and thanks for taking an extra 5 minutes out of your week this week to hear this midweek episode. And I wanted to pop in and connect with you because there's something important I want to tell you about. If you listen to my episode from Monday, I referenced a little bit about putting different activities together, because a lot of times on the podcast you hear different activities and things you could do in your classroom, but how do they all sort of connect together? Is it possible? Are they just a one-off? So my whole episode this week from Monday was a teacher toolbox episode where I took 4 activities and I put them together so that you can see how they can all work as a collective whole rather than just one-off activities. And that was sort of a taste of what things are like when I do workshops. That's a lot of what we do. We take a lot of different activities, we put them together, and you can see how you can create these lessons and units using all these different ideas rather than just seeing them as like a one-off. So I wanted to tell you about an opportunity that you can have absolutely for free to be a part of one of my workshops. So from March 4th to the 8th is the World Language Teacher Summit. And this is a virtual online conference for language teachers. I am one of about 25, maybe more than 25 presenters that are going to be presenting on lots of different topics. But for me personally, the workshop I'm going to be doing is called CI through interpretive reading, but then what? So it's this whole idea of we talk about CI and how important it is, and I'll definitely get into that with all the reasons for it and why we should do it and why it's effective. But then I'm going to go into lots of activities to do after. And some of them are things we've talked about on the podcast and in other ways, but it's visual because it's a video. It's a pre-recorded video where I'm screen sharing and showing you all these different ideas and showing you where you can get them and you can download them and then use them in your own classroom. So that is the workshop that I will be doing as part of the World Language Teachers Summit. But I also wanted to point out that there are so many teachers presenting who have actually been on the podcast with me. So one of them is Nomi Rodriguez, and she's going to be talking about using authentic music in the classroom. On the podcast episode that I had with her, which was just a couple of weeks back, we talked about AI tools. And then Allison Wienhold is also presenting. She's been on the podcast twice, and she's going to be talking about music brackets. Then there's also Berta Delgadillo, who was on the podcast with me last year. We talked about online translators, and she's going to be talking about AI tools that teachers must try. And then there's also Jennifer White presenting. She was on the podcast last year with me, and she's going to be doing a workshop on Panama's African roots and tracing ancestry and heritage. And then Allison Perryman, who was such a fun interview on the podcast, she is doing a workshop on transforming perspectives and cultivating culture in your classroom. And then also Adriana Ramirez, who was also on the podcast with me. She is going to be talking about first steps in the work on equity in the language classroom. And then there's Timothy Chavez, who was actually my first live in-person with an audience interview that we did this past year at the MAFLA conference. And he's doing a workshop on linguistic liberation and queer identities in the world language classroom. So that's just a couple of the 25 plus presenters. And so many of them I can totally vouch for because they've actually been on the podcast with me. So it's your opportunity to continue to learn from them. So the World Language Teacher Summit is from March 4th to the 8th, and it's totally online, asynchronous. You watch on your own time, and it is free from March 4th to the 8th. If you want access beyond that or extended access beyond March 4th to the 8th, there are opportunities to opt in to that for a small fee. I am an affiliate for that, just to be totally transparent. But you have access from March 4th to the 8th, totally free, all of these wonderful workshops with these presenters. And again, my workshop is about CI, comprehensible input, but then what do you do after the fact with that? So the link is in the show notes for you to sign up and get your free ticket right now so that you are ready to go, and get it now. Click on it now, just get yourself signed up. It's totally free, and you'll get the email and let you know when it is starting and when the workshops are happening. So don't wait till next week or the following week because you have to March 4th. Just do it now, get it over with, and you'll have it all set up and ready to go. And I'm looking forward to the World Language Teacher Summit. I've done this a number of times over the last couple of years. It's always incredibly successful. And Jared, who runs it, he does a great job of finding the best presenters out there. So I highly suggest it for you, and I will see you at the summit. So get the link right now and get yourself signed up. Okay, I will talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the World Language Classroom podcast. Be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening so that you never miss an episode. Let's keep the conversation going on social media. Connect with me on X, aka Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at WL Classroom. And for even more valuable resources, visit my website, WLClassroom.com, where you'll find over 300 blog posts about language teaching. So stay inspired, keep growing, and continue making a difference in your language classroom.